Hello, everybody, and welcome to Stupid O'Clock. I am Dan Hollifield. Joe Dog is a bit, um, let's just say, recovering from his booster shot, and he will not be with us tonight unless he feels better sometime in the middle of the show. Stephanie is snowed in with an editing job that she's got to finish. She's got a deadline on that. She might pop in, but it's highly unlikely. But we do have the ever popular John Scarborough and
I'm
the
ever popular. Oh, do I get
yeah
invited to the prom now?
and the amazing Bill Sarton. Yes. Uh did you notice? Now I don't know if John's got ops. Did you notice the scroll bar for the intro video underneath the screen itself
I did
and the
not.
countdown clock on the intro uh, thumbnail? I have never seen that before, so they have added that. They have added that brand new, as far as I've been able to tell.
Real
That's very
quick.
useful. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
That should be Zach.
Yes,
Okay. Yeah.
he needs to get in here because we got to talk about the millionaires that are going to space tomorrow.
Oh, okay. We got some more.
Oh yeah.
Are are they
This
coming
time it's
back?
this time it's a SpaceX launch, and they're going to the space station.
Ooh, okay.
I,
Oh, yeah. Zach, have you got him on your messenger? You can
I
zap him
do
a link
not.
because
Um,
I
I
don't
don't
either.
either.
Um, hmm.
Hang on a minute. Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can work some internet voodoo here.
Okay,
Um,
yeah. You're faster at it than I am, especially now with the my left hand is almost non-functional. All this, um, for those that do not know, I have just about 2 weeks ago suffered my first outbreak of shingles, and I did not have the slightest idea what was going on until it was already past the safe deadline for me to go and get uh, the vaccination, the shot for shingles once you notice you've got it. But I'm going to have to wait for about a month, maybe a month and a half for it to. It's almost gone away, but I've got to wait till it's totally gone, and then I can go ahead and get the shot. And I don't know if you have to take that yearly or if it lasts for a year or two. 2 years.
No, you just take two shots. You take your first shot. I'm speaking from experience here. You
Okay.
take your first shot, and then your second one, I believe, is supposed to be so many months later. I want to
I
say
think
six
it's
or eight.
three. I think it's three for
Oh, is it
validity.
three? Okay.
I think that's what the
And
pharmacy told my wife.
yeah, after that, you're good for life.
Okay, good,
The
good.
my problem was that after I took my first shot, 1 month later, that's when the COVID hit. So that screwed
Yeah.
everything up for me for quite a while. And so I went virtually about a whole year before I got my second one in.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and get it because this is extremely painful. Anybody that's ever had chicken pox as a child will forever carry a remnant of that virus in your nerves. Actually, it follows the nerve cells rather than your bloodstream. And once you reach the age of 50, you've got um, either 50-50 or 60-40 chance of contracting shingles. It's the same virus, but a different sort of um, effect. And it is extremely painful. It itches and it burns at the same time, and it makes your joints above the or below the afflicted areas throb with pain worse than my normal arthritis. And I've been suffering from arthritis for years. So if you've had chicken pox and you're past 50, go get that shot. Those 2 shots, it's worth it. It, from what I have been told, it will prevent it for the rest of your life. And a day without pain is a really good day. So let's see here. What else have we got? Now, see, it itches. It itches like crazy, and it's almost gone. At least on my thumb. But oh, Bill's internet is acting up again.
Oh, not again.
One day, his neighbor will upgrade the Wi-Fi, and Bill will be fine, or he'll get his own.
Zach, I sent the link to your Discord message.
That's a guy. Yeah, I never thought of that. I don't.
It's the only messenger I could find for him. He's not on Facebook as near as I can tell.
Well, I only used Discord during the online LibertyCon. That was the only reason I ever installed Discord, and that was wonderful. It was great. It was absolutely perfect.
I use it for this when I'm playing Star Citizen. So that's, okay.
Oh, okay, for gaming too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I imagine
it has a very clear or communication system. So. About as clear as this. Maybe a little better, actually.
Yeah. Well, I noticed I was able to hear a lot of the more quiet sounds that would happen during a live panel from the convention. So it was like sitting in the front row at the panel. It was really good. Other than that, I don't game, so I haven't had any real use for Discord, although my publisher has a group on there that I might join.
Sure.
I mean, usually when they have a meeting, it's in the middle of one of our shows.
Is it tonight? They're going to show on Turner Classic Movies. They're going to show Doctor Who versus the Daleks.
Oh, the Peter Cushing movie.
With Peter Cushing. There's just one problem. It starts at 10:30.
Oh well.
So you got to tape it.
So if a lot of people from our show, like start.
Oh,
yeah, that's me watching Doctor Who. Anyway.
Have you got
which one are they going to show?
I posted it on Stupid O'Clock actually.
I remember seeing it, but I can't remember if it's the first one or second one.
If it's Doctor Who and the Daleks, it would be the first one. The second one was Invasion Earth 2142 or something like that. I'm not sure exactly the year. But they're both taken directly from actual episodes of the show.
It's 1965, Doctor Who and the Daleks.
Okay, so it'll be the first one. Yep. Now there are some real differences. Oh, there's Zach. Hey, you ready to come in? Ready or not? Here you go.
Hello.
Hello. Well, now that we have you here, John.
Yes.
Lead the questions and ask Zach about the rich dudes going up to the space station.
Yes, let's talk about the millionaire space launch tomorrow.
Yeah. And how likely is it that they're going to get shoved naked out of an airlock?
1%.
1%.
It is a SpaceX Dragon capsule.
Hey, that's better than my odds of winning the lottery.
Will there be 3 little robots on the space station when they get up there named Huey, Dewey, and Louie?
Drone number 3, keep moving.
Drone 1, drone 2, drone 3. Okay. Yeah, they really need to do that because let me on the space station because my spacesuit pockets are going to be filled with Star Trek Micro Machine miniatures.
With Axiom, you never know.
Who was it did that? One of the Mercury astronauts.
One of the Mercury astronauts took a lot of little keychains and memorabilia stuff. oh, Fred. No, I can't. I have to look it up. But he something happened and the hatch popped
Oh yeah, and the
right after
capsule
splashdown.
yeah.
And the capsule started filling with water, and they lost the capsule, and it's still sitting on the bottom.
Mhm.
Matter of fact, strange enough, I posted a picture of that on Armchair Rocket Science, and they keep trying to get me to start a business called Armchair Rocket Science, and buy advertising. Facebook does. It's like, this is a fan group. We're not trying to, it's not a business. We're not selling rocket. That's Elon Musk's job. We just talk about it. We don't
Yeah.
actually
Just
send the
fake it till
rockets
you
up.
make it. Say yes, but they have
Hey.
to give you so much free advertising first.
I can out-weird that. I keep getting snail mail addressed to the employment director for Aphelion Webzine. And they want to know how much we pay our editors. That's easy. Nothing.
No, you should have told them you pay your editors $20,000 a year and see if they'll top it.
No, they want a job. If I tell them we pay them $20,000 a year, which that's like
$20,000 a year, but it's only part time. Yeah.
Just tell them that we hired
my salary from the factory.
Just tell them you hired chimpanzees and you pay them in bananas by the pound.
We hired Shakespearean chimps. That's exactly what we did.
Do you live in India?
You get 1,000 chimps and 1,000 typewriters and let them go at it. And one of them eventually starts writing Shakespeare. And that's the one we hire as editor. Yes.
Sounds like the Elon method.
Yeah. All right. Now, what about these millionaires?
Yeah, let's talk about millionaires in space.
What are they going to do when they get there?
Tourists.
Make millions.
They're going to make fools of themselves on the space station.
No.
I figure after the first one accidentally falls out there, a lot the other one.
So why are they going to begin with? What's the legitimate reason?
Money?
Tourism.
Yeah, so it's opening the ISS up for private missions. Mainly, Axiom will eventually build its own station, which will be like a rich person's hotel in space, but also for research. But before they start building that, they want to prove that they can send crews up to the ISS and do that first. So this is the first of many.
They've got to get Hilton to build their space station. That's all I got to say is everything, all the towels and, blankets and everything. Hilton.
Well, now you've just started a bidding war between Hilton and Marriott.
And then on the other side of the moon is going to be the Trump hotel up there.
I came back from Iraq one time on a old, it was a 747, and this was right after Pan Am had gone out of business.
Yeah.
And the 747, you could see where they had painted over all the old Pan Am livery on them. They just painted it white over it, but it still stood out, and everything inside was like Pan Am and stuff like that. And the whole time I was sitting on this flight, I was like, I cannot believe that bankruptcy killed Stanley Kubrick's 2001: A Space Odyssey, because now Pan Am will never start sending shuttles up to the space station that was built by Hilton.
Somebody else could buy the right to the name.
I don't know if they can.
Hey, you start throwing money around, you can do anything.
I mean, look at Elon. He just bought Twitter out of the blue.
It's a shame we don't know any billionaires that would like to buy like space shuttles and stuff like that.
So we could buy the name Elon Musk.
No, he's got that one. You'd have to wait till after he passes away.
I have an idea about that. We could buy the name Elongated Muskrat.
Oh no!
I saw that.
Yeah.
I have a couple people in our Discord that use that name.
I worked with a guy. His last name is Musk. I don't know why he couldn't start his own company with that name, because it is his name.
Wasn't there a politician not too long ago with that last name? No, Muskie.
No,
and then there was a TV reporter named Musgrave. So that's all.
Well, that's very Sherlockian there.
And there was a Captain and Tennille song called Muskrat Love.
Yes.
Mhm. Sounds like a good name.
Muskrat Susie. Muskrat
Sang,
Yeah.
sang by America previously.
Oh, I didn't know that at all. I didn't know that that was a cover.
That is, that was off of their very first album.
It's on their
And,
greatest hits album too.
Yeah.
Yes, it is also on there too.
Well, that was back in the day before I ever actually read the cover credits on albums. I was a very ignorant young man. I just listened to stuff that I liked, and most of the groups that I knew anything about were either synth pop or space rock or something like that. Joe
Okay.
Bachman has
Joe?
visited.
What? Where? Who? Oh, hey, Joe Bachman.
Yeah, just stopping in for a moment to say hello. Hope y'all are doing well tonight. Well, we're doing okay. Got to get some sleep, though. Got a meeting first thing in the morning. Well, you have a good night, too, Joe. I hope we don't bore you to tears. Well, I hope we do bore you to sleep. That way you get a good night's sleep.
Okay. On the count of 3, everybody do their best white noise, and we'll put Joe to sleep.
No, I got an even better idea. On the count of 3, everybody yawn. 1, 2.
Or he could just go to Bandcamp and play my That'll Put You to Sleep album.
Okay. Well, maybe this will put him to sleep. Tomorrow morning, SpaceX is set to launch yet another Crew of 4 to the International Space Station from Florida. But unlike most of the company's passenger flights, this new crop of flyers won't include any current NASA astronauts. All 4 members of the crew are civilians, flying with a commercial aerospace company called Axiom Space. Their flight will mark the first time a completely private crew has visited the IRS.
ISS.
You know why they're the
IRS? Yeah. We wouldn't have any funding problems if it was an IRS space station.
Grant,
Grant and Michaela.
And Michaela. Okay.
Hey, to both of y'all.
Now, technically, here's what I want to know. Were the monkeys we sent up into space, were they NASA employees? Or because, were they technically not NASA employees and therefore civilians? So technically, they would have been like the first civilians to do that sort of stuff.
I think to be classified as a civilian, you have to be also classified as a sentient being.
Explain Congress then.
We don't have enough time for that.
Well, no, I mean, you know exactly what a group of baboons is called. That's self-explanatory.
Of course,
you don't know.
Technically, sexual intercourse is referred to as Congress too. So, either way, you're screwed.
Both meanings fit. I mean, a platoon of baboons is called a Congress. So,
okay.
I think we offended Bill. No,
what?
no. His internet is acting up again. He'll probably be coming and going more quickly than people in Oz tonight.
Okay. So anyway, they're sending up this Dragon capsule, and it's one of the crew or Dragon crew. Is there a cargo Dragon? Or is it?
Yes, there is. There's a cargo Dragon and a passenger.
So there is a cargo and a crew Dragon. They're slightly different. Okay.
There's 4 crew Dragons and 1 cargo. I might drop off and come back. We might see.
Okay. They are talking about. They just recently stopped building. They built the 4th Crew Dragon capsule, and they stopped building them.
Okay.
But then all this hoo-ha started up with Russia, so I'm curious, and I wanted to ask Zach before he disappeared if he has heard anything about. Oh, there he is.
Okay, you got him.
There he is. Okay,
ask your question.
Let me go back about a minute. I just read something like last week about SpaceX quit making Dragon capsules. They made their fourth one and quit. And all they got
Yes.
now is parts because all they're going to do is refurbish those 4. But now that Russia is no longer in the space business, have you heard anything about SpaceX maybe bringing up a couple more capsules?
Right now,
I was trying to bring that up.
Can
y'all see that?
Freeze?
Yeah.
There we go.
Oh, there.
There
Just
we
took
go.
forever. Okay.
There's your crew for tomorrow. Likely no, because they can refurbish them fast enough. They don't want to have more than 4 at this point. They're putting all their money into Starship.
Okay. And the other thing was, what was it? Oh, what was the company that had it was? They were sending up a satellite on a Russian ship, and the Russians said, "Well, if we're going underneath all these sanctions, we're not sending your spaceship up." So they said, "No problem." Hey, Mr. Musk.
OneWeb. So
OneWeb, that's the one.
OneWeb went bankrupt in 2011, 2012, I believe it was. The European Parliament didn't want to see that happen, so they bought a majority stake of the company and bailed them out. And Russia told them, we won't fly you unless the European Parliament pulls out because they're sanctioning the country. There were some polite exchanges of go, whatever yourself. And then OneWeb made some calls.
Russian commander. Okay.
Zach, I think the word you were looking for is Roger.
Sure.
That's the polite way to say what you intended to say.
Yeah.
And the other thing, hey, do we know who these guys are? Or
let me pull their names. Yeah, it's Mark something. 2 Americans, Israeli, and a Canadian.
Let me see if I
so Wolverine's finally going up. Yo, wait a minute. Wrong franchise.
Michael Lopez, Algeria's commander. He is an former NASA astronaut and Axiom's vice president. American entrepreneur and nonprofit activist Larry Connor will be pilot. Canadian investor and philanthropist Mark Pathy will be up, and impact investor and philanthropist Etienne Stibbe, I believe it is, of Israel.
He's an Israeli Air Force pilot.
Yeah, he'll be the second ever person from Israel going up.
Cool.
So he's on the right. Mark from Canada is on the far left.
Mel Brooks would be so proud.
So the commander has flown 4 times previously under NASA and was last up in 2017. So he's returning.
Okay.
Well, they said no astronauts. I mean, technically, I know he's not working.
Well, they're not. Yeah, they're not. Technically, they are either independent contractors, civilians, or retired and civilians.
So they're all privately paying for their mission other than the commander. The commander who is part of Axiom, that's why he's getting to go up. Also just because he already knows a bit of it, but they all did have to go through full SpaceX training, but also through mostly full NASA training for the space station. Because as for the space station, you're not allowed to dock and enter the station unless all of the supporting nations say yes, because you're a visitor to the country's station.
Right.
Yeah, it's like visiting
sovereign territory.
It's like visiting a diplomatic outpost. What's the word?
Or a Navy vessel. Technically, it's their territory. So.
Yeah.
And it'll be the first time the ISS gets handed over to a non-NASA or SpaceX mission control. So Axiom has their own mission control room that they went through rehearsals a few months ago. So they will hand over at least the Axiom crew to them to keep them on track of their daily schedules and their research and science that they're doing. Because they are all going up for work. They're not just getting to do whatever they want.
Millionaires doing work?
Hey.
Okay.
There are a few millionaires that actually got there by working rather than inheriting.
Yeah.
True.
And the monkey flips the switch. Okay. Quick, name that movie. I'm sure Zach will get it.
Which one?
The monkey flips the switch.
That's one I cannot remember.
Lost in Space.
Oh.
Matt LeBlanc played a military pilot that got tasked with flying the ship, but it's a robotic ship. It's completely automated. And so he literally said, a monkey could fly that. All he could do is flip a switch. And the last thing he said before he went into cryo freeze and started shutting the ship down, he started flipping on, and he goes, and the monkey flips the switch.
Now, was this the Lost in Space movie?
Yes, with
okay.
John Hurt. And,
I don't even know the last time I watched that. I've only watched the remake, the TV one.
Yeah, the one on Netflix.
Yeah,
yep. That I'm impressed. I know the third season is either out or coming out soon, and
it's out.
Probably need to binge watch all of it. Yeah, it might be a little bit iffy here or there. I mean, it's been quite a long time since the first season, when the scripts were actually serial, basically, for the first half, at least, of the first season.
Mm-hmm.
And
we got.
Oh my goodness, we've got it. We've got a troll.
I'd say it was a Russian troll, but the FBI took care of those.
For now, they'll be back.
Hey Ryan, how you doing?
Man, woo! By God, Gene, we have finally arrived. Woo! Stupid o'clock. What on God's green earth is what is going on tonight?
We were just talking about millionaires in space, which is the big topic for tomorrow, because Axiom, which is the private company, is going to start launching space tourism. They're going to build their own space station.
Really?
Yes.
That's amazing. That means I guess I should take my friend's advice, known as Douglas Quaid, and go to recall and get total recall and get my ass to Mars.
There you go.
Yeah, that's what I should do.
They're going to send 4 millionaires up tomorrow and put them on space station for a month.
Really? Where's my invite?
They just
$75 million, please.
Really?
$55 million a seat.
Well, 75 including station.
Wow, I could have written them a check.
Yeah, so stations costing.
I could write them a check too. Okay. It'd bounce higher than the moon, but I could write them a check.
Boy, that's a bit cray-cray. Well, we wish the millionaires and the 1%ers who aren't us, good luck on that space flight. Yeah. Good luck, guys. Have fun.
Hey, anything that popularizes space exploration, I am all in favor of. Oh, and Bill. Okay, Bill's back.
Sorry about that. I got to have a serious talk with my neighbor about his Wi-Fi.
Really? Let's see. There we go. Now I can see something besides.
Hi, Ryan.
Hey, Bill, so good to see you again. I know I've been gone for many, many weeks and months and months and months, but man, I've been putting in the work. I've been hustling, and it's paying off, man. I got a link tree now. I got new business cards. It's been a rocking and rolling show, man. It's been fun, and it's good to see all you fine gentlemen too. Zach, I believe. I don't think I've ever met you before, but it's good to see you, buddy. How you doing?
Zach runs a web show called The Launchpad, which he's buddy with a billionaire named Elon Musk. Him and Elon Musk have lunch like once a week.
Really? Can we have some of that money? Because some of us could use some of that.
I mean, I could use the money too.
You got to ask Elon for it.
Yeah, Elon, I know you watch our show every week because of how great this content is. Am I right, Dan?
You know, I secretly actually believe he does watch the show from time to time.
Did you say they have lunch every week or launch every week?
That either one. Lunch.
Launch every week is in the future still. Lunch still goes.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I hear you. Well, good to meet you, Zach. Last time I heard the term Launchpad was in a little indie show called DuckTales. Remember that character, Launchpad?
Hey, yes, I do.
Yeah, he's a fine character. That one.
He was the pilot and crashed more planes than
Alan. Didn't you ever go to flight school? Flight school? You mean you never took flying lessons? Well, I took a crash course. No, he tells me. I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself. DuckTales, the movie, The Treasure of the Lost Lamp, was a staple of many people's childhoods, Zach.
You nailed Launchpad right there, I'll tell you.
Thank you so much. I practiced that for hours and hours just so I can say it in front of you fine gentlemen.
And if you believe that, you'll buy this watch.
Now, take the hammer and take the nails out.
Do I have that watch? Wait, hold on a second. No, I don't have it. But speaking of space flight, I'm going to a lovely place this weekend called Philadelphia, Pennsylvania for Fan Expo, and 4 members of the cast of Star Trek The Next Generation are going to be in my presence. So I get to meet Riker, I get to meet Data, I get to meet Dr. Crusher, and I get to meet the one they call Q.
Have a good time.
Right now?
Mm-hmm.
John,
in Philadelphia, if you want to jump in your car and drive up to see us, buddy, we'll wait for you. Or jump on your flight, why don't you? Take one of those free flights.
About last time I went to Philadelphia, I got run off the freeway by 5 or 6 trucks because I was too busy staring at battle cruisers. So I was driving down the freeway.
You don't want to go to Virginia and look at the Navy yards then.
Actually, my brother was stationed there, and when he got out, that was his first duty station. I drove him over there. So yes, I got to see all the aircraft carriers and stuff.
Yeah.
And here's what's funny. Their mess hall is right next to NCIS.
Really?
The same building they always show in the TV show. I walked right past the sign and they go, hey.
Cue the theme song, people. I got to do my Jethro Gibbs walk. Hold on a second.
I wish I'd had a
right
camera. I didn't have a camera with me, but I was walking past the sign with my cup of coffee in my hand.
No camera.
How did you not have a camera?
Because it's a military base, and they slightly frown on people taking pictures of the nuclear vessels.
They do.
Well,
they take that pretty seriously.
Part, but the building's not so much.
Actually, that's one of the parts. There's a big sign on every military base says no photography allowed. They'll throw you in the slammer to the cooler with you. And confiscate $50,000. 80,000 years in jail.
Guess we couldn't afford that. But
yeah, they had a sign like that at Houston too. Yet they were doing paid tours to go take photos around the base. So,
well, those things happen. But yeah, this is our first convention of 2022. We're very excited.
Y'all gonna do any live stuff on it? Do your show from there?
I mean, I know one of my friends who's a vendor there. We're going to go to his booth, and he takes, video every time someone buys one of his pieces of art. So if he does, we can go Instagram Live if he's willing. Or if not, you're definitely going to see me tagged in pictures, on his account saying, hey, so-and-so bought this at my booth this weekend. Check it out, guys. Because he loves interacting with his fans and talking with them and getting pictures and stuff. So he's a very approachable person. So him and his wife run the booth. They do watercolor art. So they do different things. They do different artworks of different fandoms, whether it's, Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, or anime like Dragon Ball Z or Full Metal Alchemist, stuff like that. I already told him, I said, these are the prints I'm going to come by. When I come by your booth, I'm going to get these. He said, well, those two I'm going to have to look for. I'll have to get back to you on those. I'm like, okay, that's understandable. Okay, if you don't have them, you don't have them. I can always buy, one of the 2 other ones. It's fine. But yeah, you may see me on Instagram Live on Sunday. I don't know. We'll see. Could be fun.
Well,
anything's possible.
You know where we live. Send us a link.
Yeah. I've been posting a lot of things in the Stupid O'Clock page. Thanks for the free marketing there, John.
Nope, no problem. We share.
It's fun. Yeah, that Stupid O'Clock page is a lot of fun.
I try to throw interesting stuff up there, especially Wednesday night, right before our Thursday show. I try to throw stuff up there, and then Friday night, right before our Saturday show, I try. So everybody starts seeing our, jokes and memes and everything else popping up there.
Always fun.
Yes, I know they're called memes, but I call them memes because it's all about memeing.
Memes.
Me. I did that.
Yeah. Goodness.
Now I've got a song from the Shock Treatment soundtrack playing in the back of my head. So.
Oh, is that what that is? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll be wearing 3 different T-shirts when I'm up in Philly Sunday, because I try to wear a shirt that goes with the person that I'm taking the picture with, depending on what fandom they're part of. So I have a Star Trek shirt. So I have one for that. I have one for like anyone else who may not fit into a specific fandom. They just act in different projects. I just have like a generic, nerdy shirt that covers a couple of different things. And then if I get a picture with Ashley Eckstein, who's the voice of Ahsoka Tano in Star Wars, I'll have a Star Wars shirt. So,
did she not play Ahsoka in the?
No, Mandalorian. It was Rosario Dawson.
Okay.
That was in live action. It's Rosario
gorgeous
Dawson. By the way,
Rosario
which made
Dawson.
me an Ahsoka Tano fan because of Rosario Dawson's portrayal of the character. Don't get me wrong, Ashley. You're good in everything in the Clone Wars and whatever else that came before, but when you see a character animated, it's one thing. But when you see him in the flesh and they're slicing and dicing people and breaking people's necks with the force that Ahsoka Tano uses, brought to you by Rosario Dawson, which kicks a lot of tail, by the way. That makes me a fan of your character. It makes me want to see more, which we are going to get an Ahsoka Tano spinoff series on Disney Plus, eventually starring the one and only Rosario Dawson. Can you believe that this woman has played so many different characters? She played Night Nurse in the Marvel Netflix series, and now she's Ahsoka Tano in Star Wars. It's ridiculous.
Josie and the Pussycats.
Or that too, which, by the way,
was,
I've not seen the film. I've only seen clips of it, John.
Oh, okay. The comedy, it's a satire about mass video marketing.
Yes.
So if you ever get a chance, watch it. It's hilarious.
I'll add it to my list of 5 billion movies I got to watch before I croak.
Hey, I've got some I just bought in the last month or two, and I've got to watch one last night.
You
Really?
bought a movie?
Yeah, I buy DVDs.
I do too.
Because after the nuclear apocalypse, the internet worked.
After Skynet takes over the world, Zach, we're going to need physical media to save our proverbial behinds, which I still believe in Blu-rays, Diva does, or VHS tapes. And yes, I have all 3.
Yep, I do too.
VHS, the way to go.
That's right. I have a VCR that's still, one of the newer ones that's still ticking. So yeah, I just finished watching The Three Musketeers from '93 from Walt Disney with Chris O'Donnell. It's good stuff. Tim Curry as the Cardinal of the France.
Any movie with Tim Curry in it is a better movie than it would have been without him.
Hey,
fair point.
No offense, that's like a scale of how good a movie is. It's not really a good movie until Tim Curry's in it somewhere.
Well, no, I disagree with that. It can be a great movie and Tim not be in it, but it's better than it would have been without Tim in it.
Well, good examples include The Three Musketeers. You include Home Alone 2 when he plays the concierge, and you include Wadsworth in Clue.
Mm-hmm. And let's see.
Well, I know there's the Rocky Horror, but I'm not a big fan of the Rocky Horror Picture Show. I'm sorry.
He played one of the villains in The Shadow.
Oh, yes, and that's one of my favorite comic-based films. Yay, and I love The Shadow.
And he was in Congo, but I don't believe that was one of his best scripts.
I like that movie, especially the scene where he's in with Delroy Lindo, who plays a captain of the certain armed forces that are in the Congo region. He says, "Mr. Namorka, stop eating my sesame cake. Stop eating my sesame cake." And that's Tim Curry, who's got the sesame cake in his mouth. And he's like, And then he's like, "What are you doing to my country, you bag of shit?" It's a great scene with Delroy Lindo and Tim Curry and Laura Linney. And Ernie Hudson. It's just great. If you haven't seen it, we are in the middle of Throwback Thursday here in the US of A. Treat yourself. Watch that thing on the streaming service because it's a good treasure hunter movie, Congo is. It really is.
It's, I'm a big fan of the old Alan Quartermain stories.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
And occasionally they make a decent movie about it.
Mm-hmm.
League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
I love that, actually. As much as everybody rags on it, I actually love it.
I love that too. But
I enjoyed it too.
I think I could have fixed the ending.
But it committed the one cardinal sin I hate about Alan Quartermain. They always make a handsome Alan Quartermain. In the books, he's this short, little, scruffy, bearded guy with big arms. He, looks like everybody says he looks like a gorilla. He looks like he belongs in Africa, is what everybody says. Yeah, I know, sounds bad. But what's his? There's this one actor, and I wanted to see him play Wolverine and see him play Alan Quartermain. And his name, I'm so terrible with names.
Hugh Jackman?
No, he played a detective in Roger Rabbit.
Oh, you mean Bob Hoskins?
Bob Hoskins, thank you.
Yeah, the late
Bob Hoskins.
Yes. R.I.P. to Eddie Valiant. You're under arrest.
I can remember back in the late '80s, they were actually talking about doing Marvel movies and getting him to play Wolverine.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason was he had just come off. Well, he'd just done Saving Robert or Who Framed Roger Rabbit, but he had also done Zulu Dawn, where he played the Sergeant Major, and he had the Mutton Chops, where he played the Sergeant Major. And if you saw him with the helmet off, with the Mutton Chops, looked just like Wolverine from the comic books.
And he's the right height.
And he was the short, stocky build. He would have been a great Wolverine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was not aware of this. Wow, the things we learn on Stupid O'Clock on a Thursday night.
And of course, he had.
Well, here's something else you can learn, Ryan. I just sent another book to my publisher 2 weeks ago.
I didn't know you were a writer, Dan.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
No, he was just giving his publisher a book was all.
I
It's
wonder
just a
why he
random
talks about
book
writing
that
all the
someone
time.
found.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
think it was an Edgar Rice Burroughs book.
Really?
No, it's the it's a spy story actually. Well, part of it. Yeah. Basically, this one takes the hero from being a underage, lying about his age to get into the Korean War, to flying fighter planes in Korea, and then being drafted by all the alphabet agencies the U.S. and other people have to not only fly spy planes, but to do a little bit on the ground.
Really?
And towards the end, he wants to retire, and he winds up hiding out in Athens, Georgia, in the mid-'70s, working as a roadie for a bunch of the local bands that haven't got hit it big yet. And it leads directly into the book that's already out now with the same lead character. Matter of fact, the last line of the new book is the first line of the one that's out.
Oh,
So,
really?
yeah, it's cliffhanger all the way, but the second book came out first because that's the way I wrote it.
Second
Anyway,
verse, same as the first.
no,
So you did it in
it's
reverse
right
order like George Lucas did.
Well, I came up with the character, wrote the story, and this was in the 1990s.
That was a great decade.
And then as time went on, I wound up writing the character as he was an older gentleman. And I really got into the character. And I developed his backstory. So I had to go back and write the prequel.
Mm-hmm.
All the stuff that was in my head to get him to the existing book. And then there's other stuff that happens after that. There might be, he makes an appearance in another book that's also at the publisher that I just got the rights to use because I wrote it in somebody else's shared universe. Oh, that's pretty good right there. Yeah.
Yeah, well, there were some better scenes. They've only got like 2 or 3 pictures of him out there from the movie. You'd have to have the video and pull a video.
Yeah, I can see a I can see a Wolverine there. Yeah,
I can see him with pointy hair. Yeah.
But when he's sitting there fighting with a bayonet, though, you could actually,
excuse me.
That's pretty darn cool there.
I don't want to cut you off, but I got Tesla's Cyber Roadie I got to jump off for. But
Right.
Make another $1 million for us, Zach.
Oh, I wish.
Go get him, buddy.
Thanks for popping in, Zach.
Nice meeting you, Zach. It was very nice meeting you. I wish you the best.
Good having you, Zach.
Seems like a nice fellow, that Zach.
He is.
Yes, he is. He is.
And to quote Zach, we will see him at the launch pad.
Uh-huh.
Well, hopefully we'll bring him on the show again. I'd like to talk to him a little bit more about some nerdy stuff. Maybe not so much about how many friends he has with $1 billion in their name, but we shall see.
You're looking up more pictures there.
No, I was actually...
He's looking up everything. By the way, Dan, your books and everything that you just talked about, the ones that are coming out, the ones you just put together or whatever, can I get signed copies of those? That'd be nice.
Sure.
Because you know me, I have this thing where life is better when reading. You see this shirt right here? Yeah. So,
I think he wore that shirt because he knew he was going to be talking to you, Dan.
I doubt it seriously. Nobody said talking to me because I usually don't talk. I just sit quietly in my corner and observe everybody.
Hello, beautiful people. Hello, Keisha Acuff, the wildest
Hello,
and
Keisha.
strangest person in American history, but we love you for it. Love you, Keisha. Oh, Michaela Jade's in the house. You know Michaela Jade's going to be on my show in a couple weeks. Did you know that, Dan?
No, I didn't, but you watch yourself. You better behave. She will smack you.
I'm sorry. Yes. No, it'll be fine. Michaela Jade is very excited. I sent her some emails. She's very excited. She's looking forward to being on the show. And Michaela, we're looking forward to having you. So buckle your seatbelts. It's going to be one heck of a ride.
Oh, yeah.
It's coming up in a couple weeks, actually, Dan.
She got the elbow brace off, and she's ready to start body slamming people again.
Maybe so. Look forward to having you on the show, Michaela Jade. You're awesome, sauce. Keep it doing.
I'll be in
phone going. Hey, Grant Lankard's here.
Yeah, he's been here for a while, but his computer.
What's up, buddy? Good to see you, Grant. He's a nice dude. That one, very chill, is Grant Lankard. Very chill when you talk to him. He's
very
cool.
talented fellow too.
He is. He was on my show a couple weeks ago talking about Beowulf. So it's Good stuff. Good for you, Grant. Congratulations on Beowulf and everything that you're doing with that particular storyline and characters. So yeah, keep on keeping on, my man.
Yeah.
There was a long time ago. There was a comic series called Beowulf.
Really?
No relation.
I was going to say there must no relation to this one that we're
No,
talking
because
about.
this was about 20 years ago.
20 years ago. Oh my God.
He would have been about 10 at the most. No. Yeah. Would have been about
not to age anyone here, but yeah, some of us would have been a bit younger 20 years ago, including this guy.
I still had the gray hair 20 years ago. So
did you?
It was one of those smaller comic companies, if I remember.
Oh, was it?
Like First Comics or something like that.
Oh, good question. Good question. Yeah, I've
Great. Now I got to do internet kung fu again.
Yeah, man.
Well, that's what you get for being curious all the time, George.
I mean, I bought the most recent single issue of this new series that just started. I haven't even read it yet. It's Godzilla versus Mighty Morphin Power Rangers that John B. Pica was raving about on back of the cereal box. So,
oh Lord,
I know, Johnny. I know you're watching. I'm going to read it at some point, brother. It's going to happen.
Oh, that reminds me.
Yes.
I ordered a copy of Cryptid Adventures, the first issue, and I have yet to receive it. And I ordered it like last year, so I've got to get in touch with John and find out if his somebody messed up the recording the order, I think.
Yeah, you might want to.
But I'm not blaming John. I'm not blaming John.
Oh, you're not blaming John.
No.
Better not. I didn't have anything to do with it.
John Pica.
Oh,
okay.
I'm not blaming him.
I was horribly wrong. Beowulf was a DC comic.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Okay.
it was kind of like their version of Conan, and they actually had a crossover with Wonder Woman.
Oh,
I remember that little comic company, DC. Whatever happened to them?
They made a movie and went bankrupt.
Beats me. They've made one too many sour movies.
They're making a comeback.
Well, they are.
I blame Ezra for it. I think he's to blame.
I blame Ryan Reynolds as the Flash. That's or Green Lantern.
You mean Green Lantern? Yeah, that. Well,
that pretty much ended.
You want to talk about dumpster fires in Hollywood history? Green Lantern is certainly one of them.
I actually liked that movie too, but the script was not as good as it should have been.
Why is
so Ryan?
No kidding.
Yeah, well,
since we're talking about dumpster fires and that, do you think the Flash movie will still come out now, considering Ezra's little activities
and mental health difficulties, as it turns out? I think the film will come out eventually, and it'll reset everything, and then they'll just, move on and cast somebody else as the Flash if they decide to make another Flash movie after this one, and that'll be that. Because this movie essentially reboots everything that's happened since 2013's Man of Steel. It's basically a reboot. It's a continuity refinish. So listen, all the stuff that's going on behind the scenes, Ezra Miller, whatever you've done, whatever happened, listen, hope you get the help that you need. Hope things turn out, better for you than they are now. Granted, I don't know all the details of what's happened with him because, like I said, we're not there. We're not behind the closed doors. We don't know what happens in a person's life. So, Ezra, take care of yourself. Get the help you need. But I hope the Flash movie goes well and still releases because some of us are still itching to see what Michael Keaton looks like in that cape and cowl 30 years later, pal.
And I'm wondering if that's a reason to keep the movie going despite Ezra being in it, because they do.
Because Keaton's in it.
I think they're contractually obligated to keep him in it if they're going to keep the movie.
Mm-hmm. It'll still happen. It'll come out eventually. It's going to reboot everything, and then once the movie is out and it's over and people have seen it, then they're just going to recast the Flash with a different actor. That's all you need to do. It's not that hard.
I know.
People get rebooted and recasted every day of the week.
So
yeah, look how many times it happened to Batman.
A different version of Flashpoint, I'm guessing.
It is going to be. It's a very. Yeah. I think this movie is going to be I hope it's a good adaptation, not a very loose adaptation of Flashpoint, because Flashpoint's one of my favorite graphic novels of all time.
Mm-hmm. Have you seen the animated version?
I have it on Blu-ray.
Isn't that
the Flashpoint paradox? Yeah.
Isn't that wonderful? DC has a way of doing animated movies. I hate to say it, better than their live-action ones.
Yeah, it's the difference. They kill it with the animation department, but in the live action department, they don't know their backside from their head. I mean, it's like, sorry, I don't want to curse on this show, but they're basically running around like a chicken with their head cut off, basically. They don't have a Kevin Feige to keep all of this stuff in line. And until they find that individual who can turn the tide and run this ship. DC is just going to continue making mistakes and being reactionary, or they're just going to move forward and make standalone films, which is what I think they should do, and not copy Marvel. Don't worry about what Marvel's doing. Make standalone movies, make the story that you want, let the movies come out, and let the audience members judge for themselves whether it's a good film or not. Because at the end of the day, we're here to entertain. We're here to give these characters as best attention as we can, and just make a good movie. That's all we want. Just make a good movie. I don't care who makes it. I don't care who's in it. Just
well, there's already there's little hints about wanting Grant Gus, whatever his last name is, Gustin, to take his place.
I mean, they did cross over on Crisis, but at the same time, that's a TV Flash, whereas this is a movie Flash. You got to separate the two.
Well, maybe not.
Grant's been on the same show for 8 years. He's fine. He's got a paycheck. He doesn't need another one.
A bit tired of putting on the red suit,
Yeah, but isn't this the last year though for that? So wouldn't he be open to do the movies?
Well, he would be open, but it's like he's done it.
He's done. He's had his shot.
He might want to move on to something else.
Look at Stephen Amell. He did Arrow for 8 years, and then he moved on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the last couple of years of that show was kind of lackluster as far as the writing and that goes. I mean, you got to admit that.
Well, it was the Felicity Smoke. It was the Felicity Smoke show featuring her Scooby-Doo friends that just happened to be named Green Arrow. Yeah, Felicity Smoke, get out of here. It's not happening.
I mean, and I fear that Superman and Lois is going down the same path. Once it starts to appear like a afternoon soap opera, I think they lose a lot of the audience. I really think they do, unless they're 13-year-old girls. But
listen. As a diehard Superman fan that I am, Superman and Lois is fine for what it is. I think the cast is very capable of what they're doing. I think the storyline is fine. It's not the greatest. And then again, and I said this to a couple of friends of mine a few weeks ago when I was on their podcast talking about one of the more recent episodes of Superman and Lois. I said, they're kind of repeating some of the same beats of Smallville. So it's kind of like, how many times can you repeat the same beats? It's like, you got to separate yourself from the pack. I know that's not always an easy thing to do, but you got to at least try. But listen, Tyler Hoechlin and what's her name, Bitsy Tulip, they're doing fine. They're doing fine. I respect them. They've done a good job. But then again, I really wish, and this is a wish, by the way, I really wish we would have gotten a standalone Superman trilogy with just Henry Cavill. I would have liked to have seen it. But unfortunately, it's never going to happen. Unless DC and Warner Brothers wakes up and smells the real coffee and gives my boy Henry Cavill his own freaking trilogy, but it's never going to happen. So then again, Henry, you're off doing The Witcher. You're doing 3 other movies after that. You're going to be fine, Henry. We wish you well.
They'll find some other British actor to impersonate the Man of Steel.
Yeah, they will. Listen, Superman, just like every other hero that's come through history, is going to be rebooted. I mean,
the thing about it is, whether you're talking about the movies, the TV series, or any of that, once they become formulaic. Thank you. It really gets old. And I mean, the monkeys, and yes, because I bring the monkeys into everything. The monkeys actually made fun of the people who wrote the stories for their shows because of that very same reason. And and that's why the movie Head was basically them making fun of them and saying, look, you how many times have you seen that on Bewitched or I Dream of Jeannie or Batman or any of them that were out during the mid 60s?
Well, that's the thing with TV shows. Ideas get recycled from show to show. Hey, this worked for them. How can we do it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's just the sad reality.
You see it in all kinds of different shows. There are certain, as you call them, beats that pop up, and they cross genres too. They just happen to go, hey, this worked for this show. Let's see if we can make it work for our show. and sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't. Ryan, I did want to ask you: have you seen the Kirk Allen movie serial versions of Superman from the 40s with the Fleischer Brothers animation?
Oh, whoa. Okay. Well, the animated, the animated. Dun, 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 yes.
Well, no, not just the anime, but the live action that had
live action.
Superman's
Okay,
flight
live
scene.
action stuff, no, but the Fleischer cartoons, yes.
Okay, back in the 40s, they did a live action Superman with Kirk Allen as Clark Kent Superman. Anytime Superman had to fly, the Fleischer brothers came in and did the animation. So it would switch from live action to animated flight scenes to live action again when he touched ground.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
And the stories were very Republic serial sort of stories. And blanking on the name. The main Superman villain, the bald guy.
Oh, you mean Lex Luthor?
Lex Luthor. He actually showed up in the second one.
Oh, okay.
I think the first one was the villain was the Spider Lady, who looked really good in a black dress.
That was the 50s. Everybody had to have a Spider Lady.
Well,
that
just sounds weird.
They were making the genre of Spider Ladies as villains. Yeah. I have a fondness for 40s movie serials.
Are those on HBO Max along with everything else? It's DC. Maybe they are on there.
I don't have the faintest idea.
If they are, I can always stream them later.
Back in the day, you were able to. There was this thing called a torrent, which I think they passed laws against once it proved to be successful.
Yes, I'm familiar with torrent.
It was also a good way to give yourself 10 different computer viruses in 30 minutes. But
ouch.
Yeah,
that's not pretty.
No, but
no, it's not. I guess I'll have to put that on my list of things I got to watch just to see how cheesy and weird and wacko things were back in the day.
Yeah, well, look for that. There was one for Captain Marvel as well.
Oh yes.
And my favorite ones that I used to watch on TV as a kid were the Rocket Man serials. Commando Cody.
Commando Cody. Yeah.
And let's see, what was it? Zombies of the Stratosphere. I think they took the second serial and chopped it into a movie length, but they cut out a lot of stuff from like 12 6 to 12 hours of little 30-minute movie serials. And then there was King of the Rocket Men. So it was basically the same character, but with 3 different names for the lead character. But they had the same flying suit, the same spaceships, the same basic plots. Matter of fact, in one of them, the actor that played the Lone Ranger was one of the bad guys. In another one of the bad guys was some barely known actor named Leonard Nimoy, and
that's illogical.
Yes, he was a Martian. He was an alien. He was a Martian
He was illogical. No, that's cool. I can do. By the way, John, I like your background there because yes, I remember I had a VHS tape of the Fleischer animated series, and I also have a VHS tape. I don't have that Fleischer one anymore, but I do have a VHS tape of the 1960s animated series of Superman.
That would be Filmation.
Yes, thank you.
Yep.
I have those on VHS because back in the day there was a store called Sam Goody. I think it was. Sam Goody was a thing, right?
Sam Goody, yeah.
Yeah, there was Suncoast Video. That was another one. Remember Suncoast Video, John?
Yeah.
Okay. So I went to Suncoast with Sam Goody and I bought those 2 VHS tapes. I'm like, hey, it's Batman and Superman. This is cool, right? And then I realized, oh, this is cheesy. But it's the good kind of cheese. I like it.
Well, one of the serials that Dan hesitated to mention, there was 2 different Batman and Robin serials that were out during the 40s.
I didn't hesitate to mention I had forgotten about them.
I saw those in a
okay.
demo
I
one
know they
time.
were made. I think I've got them on the hard
Yeah,
drive.
Robert Lowry, I think, was the best one.
There was a Green Hornet one too.
Oh, really?
Right. There was a Green Hornet one, and J. Carroll Nash played the Japanese villain.
Really?
Because all Japanese were villains back in the mid 40s, supposedly. You know, much like everything else.
Was unaware of that.
Which that goes back to that Fleischer Superman cartoon. One of them was called the Japateur.
Japateur, yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, J. Carroll, and I could be pronouncing it wrong. I think it's Nash or Nash. It's Naish, I believe. And very good actor at the time. He's playing a lot.
Really?
Yeah. Let's see. There was and you would know these references, Bill. There was a Terry and the Pirates one. There was a Smiling Jack one.
Yep.
I don't believe there was a Steve Canyon, but there should have been. That was a good comic strip back in the newspaper comics back in my wild and misspent youth.
Facebook buddy Howard Chaykin was doing some work on Terry and the Pirates Sunday comic strips not long ago.
Yeah.
And I seen actually something he posted about that recently.
Really?
Howie Chaykin not only was involved with my favorite superhero Duck, but he also did the comic American Flag, which should have gotten a movie treatment. It was Wild and Crazy.
And yeah, at the time when Dick Tracy and the Spirit and all of them were out, you think that would have fell right in place with them all.
The
This
trouble
is 86
is,
reporting under control.
Dick Tracy and the Spirit did not take off the way they actually should have.
Yeah.
The radio program of Dick Tracy's up on YouTube in case anyone wants to go back and listen to that.
And there are, let's see.
I think Dick Tracy's kind of cool. It's too bad Dick Tracy can never be rebooted because Warren Beatty holds the rights. So sad.
Yeah. There are actually, I think I was watching them on YouTube. There are actually several different series of The Shadow.
With Orson Welles?
No. These are just movie serials.
Oh, movie serials. Sorry. Okay.
From the same time period. But there's one where they used the name The Shadow, but it was for a villain. And it was just a movie.
Oh.
But it used some of the premises. They stole a lot of the premises, but got away with it because it was the 40s.
Well, I know Orson Welles voiced the Shadow in the radio, old time radio shows, but I believe, wasn't he the Shadow in one of the serials as well?
I'm not sure about that.
I have some of the Shadow programs on CD by Orson Welles, which I'm very happy to have in my collection because the Shadow is one of my favorite, old school pulp character.
Now, there was an old time radio play show where it was The Final Problem, Sherlock Holmes story. Sir John Gielgud was playing Sherlock Holmes. Orson Welles was playing Moriarty.
Ooh.
And as a bonus track to my third album, the one that I did for Stephanie Osborne for her Displaced Detective Stories, I actually put together a 18-minute piece that used audio clips of Gielgud and Wells as their characters, and I put together the sound effects myself, and it was basically tying all of that into Stephanie's first Displaced Detective novel. Now, that is a bonus track. You don't get it on the CD, which you can't buy anymore anyway, so I don't know why I'm mentioning it, but it's up there on Bandcamp if anybody really wants to hear some really classic old-time radio, but with me doing all the sound effects.
I love old-time radio shows in general. I fell in love with those back in the 70s when they were putting them out on 33 1/3 records. and that each one they weren't like time life records, but it was almost in a similar format. And that's where I first heard about Fibber McGee and Molly and the Great Gildersleeve.
McGee's
And
Closet, Great Gildersleeve. Yes, I
yeah,
remember.
Tain't Funny McGee and Lum and Abner. By golly, I believe that's our ring.
Oh, my parents were telling me stories about how they used to listen to all that stuff on the radio when they were kids. And that, I mean, Dad was just absolutely into Gunsmoke and Lone Ranger on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
And he just absolutely loved that. Mom does not confess to her favorites of those radio shows, but she did tell me about the night that they did the Orson Welles War of the Worlds radio broadcast.
Oh yeah,
Live.
yeah.
Evidently,
Heard about that in class.
evidently, my grandfather was listening to it and was one of the people that was convinced it was real and ran out in the yard with a pistol waiting on the Martians. He was going to defend his family.
I think most of the East Coast did believe that.
Yeah.
Even though several times during the broadcast it was announced that this is a play by the Mercury Theater.
He would, knowing Granddaddy, he probably ran outside before they announced that it was a play. He would probably have been part of the
There was a military
response.
school. There was a military school in Chattanooga.
Oh yeah,
and it's a yuppie school now. But back then it was military school, and they mobilized because they thought there was a Martian invasion.
Mm-hmm. Well, I aired the.
He admitted that flying saucers are real up until last year, or whenever it was.
Yeah.
Which reminds me, I may get one of the prints at my friend's booth that is a homage to the X-Files.
And those saucers cost a lot of money, so they should stop throwing them. I mean, fine china is hard to come by sometimes. But
Really?
You know?
No, that the whole. Well, okay. Every year on Halloween night, I air the original radio broadcast, uncut and uninterrupted, on my artwork channel.
Which is a great.
And you can
Facebook
hear
page,
how
by the
many.
way.
They didn't just announce it at the beginning and at the end. They did it a couple, 2-3 times during the whole broadcast, but it was so realistic.
Well, yeah. And that's
the way they went about it.
That's all down to Orson being the kind of producer that he always wanted to be. And it's down to HG for being a pretty good writer to start with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you get the trademark Orson Welles. So you get that in between, you get that too, with the Citizen Kane.
You do know the absolute question about that.
About Rosebud, you mean?
Yeah, if he died alone, how did anybody know what his last word was?
It's a great question. Never really thought about that. And I saw the film in my film class back in something known as college. And I remember liking the film, but I walked out thinking, that is not the greatest film of all time, like a lot of people make it out. It is not the GOAT. Not, at least not from where I'm sitting. I mean, I still got a lot of movies to see, but I would
give that to Casablanca personally. But
you see what like Ingrid Bergman, Humphrey Bogart. I mean, come on. Like, I would give that title to GOAT right there. Casablanca is rich.
I would too.
That is movie making at its old school movie making at its peak. And by the way, Dan, that movie turns a very healthy 80 years young in November, and we're going to celebrate that with a watch along of Casablanca. So stay tuned. That's going to be a lot of fun come November of this year.
Hey, I'll turn 65 in November
Just
this year.
No talking while the movie's going, though. I hate when people do that.
Well, I mean, we're going to be doing it because you're going to be watching us watch the movie and hearing our thoughts and feelings about the film. But even so, you can still watch in the comfort of your own home, and you can just mute us. I don't care. Do however you wish, but it's going to be a Mystery Science Theater 3000.
On YouTube as a reaction video. You can get away with anything.
It's YouTube, yeah. So we're going to do it anyway. I've been doing it for a couple of years now, and it's fun. We're going to be doing one in a couple of weeks for Sam Raimi's Spider-Man and another one for the Avengers because both those films turned 20 and 10 this year.
Mm-hmm.
Which, by the way, that's coming up in a few weeks, so stay tuned. Don't worry, you'll hear it on social media. Hashtag always promote your projects.
Well, I thank you for telling me.
You are so welcome, Dan, because I love Casablanca as much as anyone else. So that film turns 80 in November, and we're going to celebrate the greatness that is Casablanca. It's going to happen.
I do have to admit, my favorite movie of all time is the original black and white version of the Thing from Another World.
Oh, that one. Okay.
Yes,
I'm familiar with that. Yes.
I love the way it was made with the characters cross talking. That's actually what people are like. You might have, if you've got a room full of people, you might have 6 different conversations going on at the same time, and they'll be talking to each other over top of each other. One conversation over top of another. But that's the way people are. It's real.
And kind of how like we do.
I mean, yeah,
but more interesting than us.
More interesting than us. Yeah, that's
so. Ryan, being the Casablanca fan that you are,
I love it.
Or do you say Casablanca?
I call it Casablanca, but that's okay because I know some people say Casablanca. Okay. It's okay. People say it in different ways.
Do you know what famous song in I think it's 78. I could be wrong. John could be Googling it right now. That makes a reference to them. Now, you won't know the name of it, but John might know of the artist, Bernie Higgins.
Oh, I never heard of him.
And
it's news to me.
But I can only, I'll just do the part of the lyric that mentions it. But Bernie Higgins had a song back in the mid 70s, late 70s, what they referred to as the soft rock of the late 1970s, basically. Kind of like Jay Ferguson and Thunder Island and all these other paired head songs that you know who sang. And Bernie Higgins had a song. And anyway, during part of the song, it says, "We had it all, just like Bogey and Bacall."
Yeah, 19. Let's see, that's
a good question. When was that? You know how to whistle, don't you, Steve? I still got to see that movie too with Bogey and Bacall. I haven't seen any of Bogey and Bacall's films together. I haven't seen any of them. Really? Yet. I know. I'm behind the times, John. I'm behind the times.
Actually, you're way ahead of the times of the problem. So.
No, I'm behind the 8 ball when it comes to catching up on certain historical films from the golden age of Hollywood that took place between 1910 and 1960. But I did have a great conversation with film historian and archivist Annette Bohenick, who runs the blog Hometowns to Hollywood that celebrates 1910 to 1960 of films and entertainment in general. So be sure to check out that interview I did a couple weeks ago, and I quote, hashtag always promote your stuff. Am I right, Dan?
Yes, absolutely. Indeed.
Yeah. Always check out that interview, guys, because Annette Bohenick is a very, very intelligent person. I mean, she has just got a wealth of knowledge about the golden age of Hollywood. I love everything she teaches or presents programs on. She does a fantabulous job. So visit hometowns2hollywood.com because you're going to like the way you look after visiting that website. I guarantee it.
Well, I got to admit, I am the same way about cheesy sci-fi movies from back in the day that Skunk is about horror movies, cheesy and not cheesy. But I'm not as knowledgeable. I don't collect the actors' names and the time, the exact year it was made and the producer and all this other stuff that Skunk may be able to rattle off about whatever horror movie is floating his boat to that particular minute. I just know them, basically the title, and if I recognize an actor or whatnot, and whether or not it's in the World War III apocalypse or monsters from outer space, or whatever genre they happen to be. And that's just from observation. I've never actually sat down and studied the darn things. Well, I just love old movies like that.
You just know things. The more you know, right?
Hey, Ted Davies is convinced I'm some kind of a giant suppository of knowledge, to misquote
Really?
Mr. Spock from a blooper reel from some Star Trek episode.
Ted Davies, that's a smart guy, that one. TedDaviesArtistry.com. Really nice guy. Got two. I got copies of his book, the Retrieve, I think it is. Yeah, issues 1 and 2. He sent those to me in the mail about a week or so ago. I did get him, Ted. Everything's fine. They turned out very well. You signed him and everything. It's great. They're going to be worth a lot of money. One day, I'm going to get him slabbed. I'm going to get him graded. I'll probably earn $1 million off of that.
Hey, that one's actually been optioned for
Really?
for filming.
Oh, that's right. Yes. And Ted Davies, I wish you the best of luck on that, man.
Yeah, me too.
For real.
He has had some printing errors with the
Grimm,
second
I think it was.
second book of Grimm.
Grimm 101. Yep.
Those are as far as I know, last thing that he said, the printer is redoing it correctly.
There you
and he will ship those out to everybody that contributed to the Kickstarter.
Yes. It's great.
Just as soon as he possibly can, but the paper shortage is slowing things down. So everybody be patient. It's worth waiting for. The man is a fantastic
hard
artist.
worker. Good things come to those who wait, folks.
Yes.
It does tend to happen. But yeah, Ted Davies, he did a show today with Glenn B. Fleming, and they did another episode of Comics Unlimited this morning.
Yes. I'm waiting for them to start doing new episodes of their other show together. And that may or may not happen because they're both very busy gentlemen. I hope that it does. Truth Mongers.
Oh, that's right. Truth Mongers. Yeah.
Yep.
They did an episode on Atlantis. That was some good stuff.
They did episodes on a lot of things.
Everything. But yeah. Atlantis is the one I'm most fascinated by because Atlantis, the Lost Empire, that's a fascinating story.
Mm-hmm. It really is. I could go into all kinds of.
But we don't have that kind of time, Dan. This is only a 2-hour show. We can't go past 11 o'clock.
I've got a whole nother show. I've got a whole nother 2-hour show after this one.
You mean we can't talk about the day when California breaks off and sinks into the ocean and Atlantis rises back up and takes its proper place where it was prior?
Yeah, we can thank the San Andreas Fault.
Now,
for that.
wait a minute. How is something happening in the Pacific Ocean going to affect the Atlantic? Well, I guess it will.
Well, if you go this way,
it's probably the bathtub effect.
Really.
See what I mean?
It just makes it more spectacular.
You push something down, something else is going to come up. Yeah.
Well,
I could have said Florida, but everything else is going on down there right now with all the tornadoes.
There was right all along. I'm telling you.
There was there's
a Comic-Con every day in Florida
called California 99 about that very thing when California sinks into the ocean.
There's a hurricane every day in Florida too, but
is there one about to hit them soon, or am I wrong?
Well, they have a lot of bad weather, but I think it's more tornado related than hurricanes right now. But it's going right up that coast.
We haven't really hit hurricane season yet for this year.
We're getting there though.
Yeah, it
eventually
should be coming. Stay tuned to the Osborne Cosmic Weather Report, and she will tell us all about everything that is going on in the Atlantic and the Pacific and the Indian Oceans when she has time.
And to answer your questions, no typhoons or hurricanes are in effect as of this moment, according to the National Hurricane Center and Central Pacific Hurricane Centers.
Well, thanks for that report there, John. Because I have a lot of my friends who live in Florida, so keep safe, guys.
Yeah.
A lot of my friends are in Florida, and Comic-Cons are held every day in that state. My goodness gracious.
I lost some really cool collector's items, toys to Hurricane Frederick.
I'm sorry to hear that, John.
I had cool stuff too.
That's pretty crummy. Sorry to hear that.
The Southern comedian James Gregory did a little skit here recently, which he reminds me so much of Jerry Clower, the comedian back in the 70s and 80s that Jerry Reed was associated with. But he talked about down south, they have the sudden tornadoes that come, they hit, they wipe out a lot of area, and sometimes, unfortunately, does damage the people just as much as it does the property, and then they're gone within minutes. And he said that he heard people talking about sudden hurricanes. And he said, there's no such thing as a sudden hurricane, because he goes, the weathermen down here will tell you days and days in advance. And he says, and these people will just wait around for it. And then at the very last minute, they're freaking out as if it was a tornado that just popped up out of nowhere. And
Really?
they knew about these hurricanes a whole lot earlier. Of course, I can't.
My favorite hurricane warning was the one where they told people to please quit going out and shooting guns to hurricane.
That don't work. You ain't got big enough bullets.
That's
You know, you say that, Dan, but there was a movie, John Wayne movie, called what was it? Rio Lobo.
Yes.
Where what's the googly-eyed cowboy actor?
Googly-eyed cowboy.
Oh, that would be
Jack
Elam.
Jack Elam?
Jack Elam.
Oh.
Yeah.
Jack Elam played the old man with the shotgun, and they were in the shootout across the two barns, and they were all shooting rifles at each other. And every so often, he'd pop up that shotgun and fire at them. He goes, "Oh, you can't hit anything at this range of that shotgun." He says, "Well, it makes me feel better. You don't mind, do you?"
Well, you know, it's funny we bring up hurricanes, because did you know there was a movie that came out a couple years ago, a horrible CGI film called Hurricane Heist? There was a movie called Hurricane Heist directed by Rob Cohen, and this is the guy who directed the first installment of the Fast and the Furious franchise, which, by the way, some of the earlier installments of the franchise of Fast and the Furious, I actually like. Okay, so don't come at me, bro, in the comments. But the Fast and the Furious, Rob Cohen directed it, and he directed a film called Hurricane Heist that came out like 5-6 years ago. It's about a federal agent who learns of a heist that's taking place in the middle of a Category 5 hurricane, and yet during this storm that is going on in the proceedings of the film, they're still able to pull off the heist right as the hurricane's coming in, stuff it into stuff the money or whatever it is into the truck, and drive off. And I'm like, are you out of your mind? Like, this is completely dumb. And no wonder it probably got a few Razzie Awards that year. I don't remember. If anyone wants to look that up on the Google interwebs, called Hurricane Heist from 2017 or whatever it was, with Rob Cohen or whatever, feel free to look it up. But I'm seeing this trailer and I'm like, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's a terrible movie. You want a really good disaster movie that takes place during a hurricane or a typhoon or whatever it is? Watch the movie Crawl. Okay? Because that's about a girl and her father trying to escape crocodiles during a storm. It came out a couple years ago. Everyone ever heard of this? It's called Crawl?
Yes.
Nope.
Okay.
You
need to Google this. You need to watch it, because it is one of the best survival type films I have seen in quite some time. And Kaya Scodelario from the Maze Runner trilogy, she's the lead actress, and Barry Pepper plays her dad.
But it's a horror movie. Their house floods.
Yes, during a storm, and the gators
start getting into the house.
Yep. So you want a good survival film during a terrible storm, Dan Hollifield? Feel free to look up Crawl.
If you don't open the door when the gators knock, they wouldn't have got them.
They were coming through the windows and
they're coming through the
basement. Close the windows.
Coming through the basement there, John.
I'm sorry. When it comes to gators, I got to root for the Bulldogs.
Well, if you ever,
I'm not a sports fan. I don't really. The only football games I care about at all are my high school and the University of Georgia versus University of Tennessee.
Really?
I can root for both sides in that one because I've lived in Tennessee. I've got family up there. I live in Georgia. I've gone to the University of Georgia. So I root for both sides. I know it's going to be a good game no matter who wins.
No.
It's just fun. I mean, and I don't really care about football, professional or college, anything other than that. And then my high school, I got to root for my high school football team. I was in the marching band. It's kind of obligatory. I signed a contract.
There's only one actor or actress that I recognize from that entire movie, The Hurricane Heist.
Oh, Hurricane Heist? Yeah, who's in it? Or what actress?
The only one I recognize is Ben Cross.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Ben Cross is in that. Yeah. There you go.
He must have been hard up for money or something.
Is the federal agent in that movie, like the cop who's trying to stop it, is that Maggie Grace? The female
As
lead?
Casey. And then there's a
Is it Maggie
Brooke
Grace?
Johnson plays Deputy Diamond.
I was thinking of Maggie Grace as the lead female role in that.
Yeah,
movie.
she was the lead. I don't know if it just says as Casey. It doesn't say.
But it is Maggie Grace, though?
Yes.
Okay, cool. See, I remember my filmographies, guys, because Maggie Grace plays Kim, the daughter of Brian Mills' character in the Taken trilogy with Liam Neeson.
Ah.
That's who Maggie Grace is. She plays Kim Mills, whereas Liam Neeson plays Brian Mills. Well, a man with a very particular set of skills.
I will find you.
Yes. You know, I'm rewatching that trilogy right now, Dan. I'm in the middle of watching Taken 3 right now.
She's also in the Fear the Walking Dead series.
Hey, good for you, Maggie Grace. You got yourself another steady paycheck. Because you did it for 3 movies with the Taken trilogy that came out in 2009, 2012, and 2015, respectfully, Dan.
And Lost. She was in the Lost series.
Yes! She was in the first season or 2 of Lost. That's very true.
What else?
I can see somebody getting taken once and possibly even getting taken twice, but 3 times, you're just asking for it, you know?
That's true. But the plot of the second movie is that Brian and his wife, his ex-wife, played by Famke Janssen, who played Xena Onatopp in GoldenEye, one of the greatest James Bond films ever made. She was also Jean Grey in the original X-Men franchise, just to be clear here, Dan. She gets kidnapped in the second one. In the second one, it's him and his ex-wife that get kidnapped, and Kim is the one who has to rescue them in the second one. And then in the third one, spoiler alert, Famke Janssen's character gets brutally murdered, and Brian Mills, Liam Neeson's character, is framed for murder. So now he has to go on the run and find out who really killed his ex-wife, which is what I'm watching right now with Taken 3. And by the way, the cop who's chasing Liam Neeson to bring him to justice is Forrest Whitaker.
All right.
So there you go. There's your supporting cast.
He has a long career.
Oh, a very long and storied career, yes.
Yes.
Good stuff, too. Forrest Whitaker has done some great work in his past.
Yes, he has. Yes, he has.
Bless that man's acting chops.
You know,
Forrest.
when you work for that long, you know what you're doing. Whether or not a director lets you do what you know what to do.
You know, he's one of those. He's one of those. What's it called? Supporting actors.
Yes.
That he is in some of the greatest movies ever. I mean,
Phone Booth.
He was in Phone Booth. He was in Good Morning Vietnam.
Yes.
And just
Robin. Yeah.
What's the one where he played the jazz musician?
Oh, I forget that one, but I remember hearing about it. He was also he was lead character in The Last King of Scotland.
Played Idi Amin.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's see, what was the other one I liked? Oh, there was a movie with him and Jeff Bridges called Blown Away.
Oh, interesting.
Where they were both working on the bomb. They were both bomb squad technicians. And Tommy Lee Jones was a pissed off Irish terrorist that came back looking for revenge on another Irish terrorist who turned out to be the head of that bomb squad in Boston.
Really?
Yes.
Was he? I think he was also in the movie Repo Man with Jude Law. Forrest Whitaker was.
Oh.
You know what I mean? I think he was in that too, wasn't he, John? Repo Man with Jude Law. That came out a couple years ago. Well, it came out like a decade ago now. My God. Can you believe some of these films have been out for so many years, Dan?
Wait till you get to our age.
You're having fun.
Yeah.
When you get to our age, I remember stuff in the 60s as vividly as I do stuff that happened last week.
Ugh.
Just not as frequently.
Hang on a minute. No. He's talking about the 2010 Repo Man with Forrest Whitaker and Jude Law.
Yeah, they did a remake, I think it was.
Well, no. The original one was a comedy. It was a 1984 movie. That's what I was thinking of. That had Emilio Estevez and Harry Dean Stanton in it.
Emilio. Oh, there you go.
And they wound up, they repo cars. And one of the cars has like a nuclear experiment in the trunk.
Ew.
They go to repossess the car, and it's got
something in the trunk.
That was the movie I was thinking of.
Oh,
I thought you were talking about that.
I didn't mean to confuse the panel. I didn't mean to confuse the audience because there's a lot of movies.
I'm so confused.
It's called Repo Man with Jude Law and Forrest Whitaker, but that was a 2010 film.
Was it a remake or was it a
I think it was a
No,
remake.
it's a completely
with the
different
same
movie.
name?
One of
Or
them,
is it a completely different movie, John? Okay.
yeah. The second one, they were repossessing donor organs.
Yeah, that's a different movie. Never mind. Never mind, folks. There's a completely separate films with completely different plot points and different actors. So take it as you will.
Repo, the comic opera, no, or rock opera.
Well, it's
or
like
whatever.
if you tell people they need to watch the movie Sahara.
Which one?
Yeah, exactly.
I was going
Get
to
the
say,
old
when I think of
Bogart
Sahara,
one.
I'm thinking McConaughey, Penelope Cruz, and
Exactly.
Steve Zahn from 2005, I want to
Great
say, or
movie.
2009.
I'll go with the Bogart one.
I haven't
Well, they-
seen Sahara, the original, but
Yeah, they got the Bogart one, and then Jim Belushi did a remake that
Really?
was pretty good.
I didn't,
He
Okay.
played Jim Belushi played the Bogart role.
this is the thing.
And
I
then,
don't remember these.
of course,
so
the
I
one
have
with Matthew McConaughey, which was based on a
Clive Cussler novel. Yeah, it was a
novel?
Cussler novel and had Penelope Cruz,
Yep.
Steve Zahn, and who was the other one? Delroy Lindo was in that too.
Clive Cussler is an underrated writer.
You think? He might be.
Yeah, I do. I mean, he's sold lots and lots and lots of books,
It's too bad his
but people think
adaptations of
he's a
film aren't
hack,
that good.
and he's not.
I actually like
Well, he
Sahara
has
for what it was.
He has nothing to do with the films except for the fact that they bought the rights to use one of his books.
Right, but I like Sahara for what it was. But then again, that was many years ago. If I watched it now, I probably have a whole different outlook on it. But that's just me.
I don't know,
So
it's actually
if they
one of
buy
those movies I can watch over and over.
Okay, that's fair,
Just
John.
because it's got so many, it's action packed and comedy.
Mm-hmm. It's the same. Yeah, it's a combination of genres. It works. I'm sorry, you were saying something, Bill?
no, I was just going to say, if he sold the rights to
Yeah.
his books to have the movies made, you'd think he'd have some sort of not control, but to say that
No,
it would somewhat represent the book.
No. Look at some of the James Bond films that have come out here lately.
I know.
All they really used as a title to a story, and
Right.
nothing that was in the story.
So basically, the people who are saying that Cussler is a hack would continue to say that by saying that he sold out, that he
They
didn't hold
might.
true to his books.
Yeah, but
Just
as I
playing
said-
devil's advocate here.
As I said, when a movie studio buys rights to the books, they no longer, unless it is in the contract, they no longer pay any attention to the writer. They turn it over to one of their script writers who takes the book itself or the story itself and rewrites it how the producers, the prospective producers, want their story to be told, their story. And if you're lucky, they keep some of the character names and maybe a couple of the locations that you used writing the book, but the writer has absolutely no control over what the studio does after the rights have been sold. Larry Niven has had the rights to Ringworld optioned for a long time, and nobody's been able to make it. And people keep trying to cast 40-year-old women as a teenage girl character in the book, and they want they want an Asian actor to play a non-Asian actor with an Asian name from the book. And this is the story in the book is at a time to where if you actually look anything like the ethnicity of your name, it's a shot in the dark. It's luck. Everybody's been intermarrying for hundreds of years, and there's no correlation between somebody named Chin and whether or not they look African or European or Asian or whatever else is left. It's just he wrote for a blended society and just used these names.
Of course, Ryan. Oh, here he comes back. Okay, now I can say this because Ryan's back.
Talking about him now.
What you're talking about then, there, Dan, concerning ethnicity of a character compared to the ethnicity of the actor or actress who plays that character reminded me of a very funny Seinfeldism and about a clearly Caucasian woman by the name of Donna Chang, who was clearly misrepresenting several people that she's Asian, until Jerry finally comes out and says, you know, you're not Asian. You're not Chinese or whatever.
Not Chinese. Yeah.
No, but somebody was to pass the name on. That's the point.
Yeah.
She suggested
somebody
Chinese
back at the
food. She was referred to Donna Chang. It's
Donna Chang.
Yeah, I remember that episode like it were yesteryear. And by the way, we did lose another member of the Seinfeld family recently. The woman who played Estelle Costanza on the show, the actress, she passed away at the age of 93, and she played legendary roles such as Estelle Costanza, which is probably her biggest. And then her second biggest role for me was the voice of Mrs. Potato Head in the Toy Story franchise. So that young, the 93-year-old actress, I forget her name. I think her real name is Estelle Harris, if I'm reading that right. But
I believe you're correct.
Listen, R.I.P. Mrs. Costanza. Now you are in the Great North with Jerry Stiller, so I'm sure you and him are having some laughs and lots of coffee about your great memories of filming your certain roles in your respective projects. And R.I.P. to her, and wish her family and her friends well during this difficult time.
She's also might be up in heaven with Don Rickles too, with Mr. Potato Head.
Mr. Potato Head, that's right. Yep, all the certain members of the Toy Story family are no longer with us. So, R.I.P. to those individuals. By the way, speaking of,
I remember seeing Stiller and Mira doing their stand-up routines on several different variety shows back in the day.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Interesting. What was it? The
Ed Sullivan frequently.
Ed Sullivan show.
Yeah.
Well, and a lot of them later than that. And then their boys doing real good too.
Yeah. Ben
I love
there's
that's interesting. Did you speaking of books and everything, did you guys know that they remade Firestarter from Stephen King?
They made a second movie. I don't know.
They made a remake of Firestarter, because the original had Drew Barrymore and Heather Locklear and what was his name? Kevin David? Keith David, thank you. So they remade it, and it's coming out from, I believe, Universal or Blumhouse, one of the two. And they released the trailer a couple months ago. Anyone ever catch that?
Nope.
No.
Because I was just going to ask you, what are your thoughts on them remaking Firestarter?
Do it justice, and I'm good with it.
Yeah, because the original with Drew Barrymore,
And I've never read the book, so I can't say. I would say the original with Drew Barrymore was entertaining, probably to say the least, but I couldn't tell you as far as if it was true to the book or not because I didn't read it.
Yeah, it came out in the 80s, I believe, was the original film adaptation. It was it was Drew Barrymore. It was like 2-3 years after E.T. had come out.
1984.
Thank you. 1984. Thank you.
Yep. She was still a little child.
She was still a little itty-bitty little child learning the ropes of Hollywood.
Well, she came from an acting family of much pedigree.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that helps. That must have helped.
Well, you pick up stuff around the house, you know?
I guess you do pick up stuff around the house. I don't know. But I was just wondering if anyone had any thoughts on that.
And now she has her own afternoon TV series, and I don't know if you can get any better than that. I think that's the highest plateau you could reach.
Congratulations to her. I'm happy for Drew Barrymore.
Yeah.
I'm happy for her. She's done some good work in her past with the rom-coms, and obviously she was one of the 3 rebooted Charlie's Angels in the 2000 film. So, hey, bless her heart.
Well,
she did a good job in that.
I remember when Firestarter came out and they had commented in ET that of her famous lineage that she's associated with, but they didn't say a whole lot about it because, you think of her character in ET, and then all of a sudden, this is quite the difference. And of course, yes, it is from a Stephen King novel, and those things were starting to do pretty good. And yes, even though the film probably wasn't as good as what some would, but it was I think a nice stepping stone for her.
Mhm.
What did she do a whole lot after that? Well, that could be.
That's up for debate.
Yeah, it is.
I mean,
Cat's
she did
Eye.
this, she did that, she did rom-com after rom-com after rom-com, and then Charlie's Angels came around, and yeah, 2000. I grew up during that era. I know what
She
it
was
was like.
going to be. They had lined her up to be Stephen King's darling back in the day. She was going to do a lot of characters in Stephen King movies.
Maybe.
You remember Cat's Eye?
I don't know if I've heard of that. I don't know if I've heard of that one, but if I can look it up one day, maybe I will.
It was a series of short stories.
Oh,
It was reminiscent of a Creep Show and
okay. Well, Creep Show I know a little bit about.
okay, like a Twilight Zone or
Yes,
like that.
I've seen reruns of that.
And it had some really good actors in it.
Really?
James, yeah.
I'm assuming it would.
And the stories were all interrelated by their connection with this cat the cat had a role in each one of the four stories.
Oh, and the cat. Yeah, I got it. It's all coming to me now.
Yeah.
I was not aware of that because, oh man, I mean, I will say it is a world of difference from what she did from E.T. to Firestar. Like E.T. she's just a little girl who's curious, like what's happening. In 1984's Firestar, she's actually lighting people on fire and killing people. So Drew Barrymore, talk about 180 there, kid.
Well, they were picking on her.
Yeah, but hey, look, she's got a talk show. Fast forward to 2022, she's got a good-looking talk show. So good on Drew. She's done well for herself at this point.
Like
my advice to a talk show guest: don't pick on her.
I wouldn't.
They need to do like a Halloween special for the Drew Barrymore show, where like every time the guest says something to her, she looks at them, and they have the fan underneath her, so her hair goes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, because they did that in the original. Yeah, that's right. They did it in the '84 film. Yeah.
That's because static electricity is too dangerous to apply to actors.
I was going to say that would not be the best thing to do to any actor, for that matter. But you know what I mean, Dan?
If you can do it with a fan, fine, but don't charge them up.
Before the days of CGI, when they really had to do stuff on their own.
That would be known as practical effects.
Yeah, practical effects are some of the best that's ever been done.
You know, I mean, speaking of '84, same year Never Ending Story came out. That had practical effects written all over it, and they killed it in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
I love the Never Ending Story. It's one of my favorite original. It's one of my favorite '80s films for sure.
Well, look at all the famous car chase scenes from various movies back then, where they actually had to have stuntmen do stunts as opposed to having it CGI these days.
Well, they might go through a dozen cars.
Oh yeah,
after do these one car, one stunt. That was pretty much the rule, because it was going to get demolished in the middle of it.
I did not know that Drew Barrymore, as a child, was in Altered States.
Yes.
Oh, really? I forgot about that.
That was a very spooky movie back in the day. Let me tell you.
It's all about magic mushrooms.
It's all about what now?
Magic mushroom.
Good Lord, I may have to look this up on YouTube one day.
Well,
John Hurt
Yes.
Was it John Hurt?
John Hurt.
Oh, yeah, good, very veteran actor. Yeah.
He was the lead character. Yes.
Good point.
And it concerned sensory deprivation tanks and meditation assisted by esoteric substances.
It was mushroom.
Yes, it was mushroom.
Yep.
I was not aware of this.
Good movie, because he starts like morphing into primates and stuff. It's
really
weird, funny.
Cool. Yeah, when he's not in the deprivation tank.
Yeah, well,
it's like the mushrooms and the sensory deprivation basically turned him into a Marvel mutant.
Really?
For just a little bit of the film. No superpowers, but a lot of the problems.
I was not aware of this as a.
It's pretty. I'm trying to remember who else was in it. It had some famous actors at the time.
Yeah, John Hurt. He's been in tons of things, right?
Oh! Look at Brainstorm. That was an amazing film for the time. I mean, they had these people that were working in a lab. They came up with a machine that would make recordings of people's thoughts and dreams, and somebody else could play those recordings and live the dream.
Experience what they had gone through, just like they had.
Mm-hmm.
That's an interesting concept for a film.
Yes,
Christopher Walken and Natalie Wood.
yes.
Really?
I believe it was
Natalie
Natalie.
Wood was
I believe it was Natalie Wood's last feature.
Oh, before she passed on. Oh man.
Yeah, yeah. And one of the premises.
About half the people that were in it were in Star Trek too.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you something.
Isn't everybody in Star
One
Trek
of the
these
neat
days?
things was whenever they went into a brain recording of a dream state, the film would switch from normal 32 frames per second to super 60 frame per second, 60 millimeter wide negatives. So the dream state looked more like what people experience than movie film looks.
Really?
Yes. So you could actually tell on the big screen when there was extra details and motion was tracked extremely well. You were actually in one of the dreams.
Almost like a precursor to Inception from Chris Nolan. By the way, Chris Walker brings up some fun facts in the chat. You see this over here? He says
yes.
Alicia Witt played Aaliyah in the 1986 David Lynch version of Dune, which, by the way, I still haven't seen that. And now she's a Hallmark movie actress of some listen, people need a paycheck, and they go to Hallmark. That's what they do. And Alicia Witt, I've known you since... How long have I known you, Alicia? How long have you and I known each other? I've known you since you were in Law and Order Criminal Intent, temporarily as a replacement detective while Megan Wheeler's character was on maternity leave. Then she was in Friday Night Lights on NBC, one of the greatest television drama series of all time, with Kyle Chandler and Connie Britton in the lead roles, guys. And now she's doing Hallmark movies because she needs a paycheck. So listen, Alicia, I may not be the biggest fan of the Hallmark system, but listen, you're getting a paycheck.
Well, I mean, Alexa Drogue from Andromeda.
Oh, yes.
She's big on the Hallmark thing.
Is she now?
Yeah, what's the one? The librarian chick. Or she runs a bookstore and does a murder club.
Oh, my God.
Used to be on Full House.
Oh, you mean Amy
Oh,
Teagarden.
Candace Cameron Bure.
Candace Cameron Bure, but she does
Yes.
the Amy Teagarden Mysteries. Is that what it is?
That's the
Yeah,
something Teagarden.
Is that what it is, Bill? Amy Teagarden?
I believe so.
She's got a funky name.
No?
Aurora Teagarden.
Oh, okay.
Anyone remember that? Okay. And then, by the way, Chris
love
Walker
the
also
Aurora
says that
Teagarden
Cliff
movie.
Robertson was also in it.
Was in Brainstorm.
Oh, Brainstorm. Thank you.
Candace Cameron Bure is
She's making
getting ready to do a movie. I mean, not a Hallmark movie either, but something big coming up. I just saw her. Yes, I have her on Facebook. Oh, Dan ain't here, so I don't have to.
Are you Facebook friends with her, or are you just like her fan page?
No, I'm Facebook friends with her.
Wow. Okay. Well,
Anyway,
bless your heart, because that's DJ Tanner right there.
Yeah, and she's she's a
aged
good
gracefully.
person. She's a very good person. Anyway,
cool.
So
I hate to say this, I like the Gibbler better.
the Gib.
No, John. No.
I thought he was going to say Jodie Sweetin at first.
Oh, I did like her too.
Hey, she's cool, man. Look what she's doing now. She's hosting like that game show on CBS right now.
Really?
Yeah, she's hosting that game show where the celebrities are on an abandoned island. It's like a celebrity version of Survivor. So if anyone knows what that is, please let me know in the comments.
I thought that was called Rehab.
Thank you. No.
Rehab Island, yes.
Rehab Island.
No, Dan, it's not Rehab
Taken
Island.
from a
it's something
Jules
else.
Verne story, I think. No.
Hey. She had struggles with alcohol and drugs, but she got over it. So thank goodness that Jodie Sweetin was able to come back from that.
Yeah, she went through
A lot
kind of a tough period there for a little while.
Really did.
And
Alcohol and
now
drugs.
someone else who they've had this show on MeTV before, but it was on hiatus and it is back now for a couple of weeks. Lisa Whelchel, Blair from The Facts of Life, has Collector's Call. And if you are a fan of Charlie's Angels, and I do mean the originals from the 70s, you will like this week's episode of Collector's Call, because she has not one but two different mega Charlie's Angels fans, and a lot of really neat stuff. I've had my friends Jim Ingle and Bill Leff, who actually now is the cartoon host of Tune In With Me every morning on MeTV. So get a plug in for Bill. And they've had both of them on there with their collections. And Bill has got he's my brother from another mother. We're almost exactly like. We always wear our hats. You'll never see either one of us without one. And but he has the best toy collection in the world. But it's 5:30 on Sundays. 5:30 Central is Collector's Call, and every week it's something different on there. But you'll really geek out for it.
And you said it's on MeTV?
Yeah, it's on MeTV.
Okay.
Just a half-hour show. Yeah,
we have it here where I am, so I'll have to look that up, Bill. Thanks for the tip.
Yeah, it's MeTV is also over the air. So if you don't have it on your satellite or cable provider, put that antenna in the window, and I bet you could probably pick it up over the air as well.
Yeah, I was just going to say we've got just about 5 minutes left before we have to run the end credits.
Joe didn't pop in. Just like to say goodnight or something.
It's okay. He's got a lot of things on his mind.
They do, but
I
know Joe.
Actually, he's got a lot of things in his arm right now. He had his
he's got this. He's got this in his arm. He's like, the whole booster. Yeah.
He's probably feeling rather.
I think it's the after effects.
Tired and achy. Yeah.
Look at the bright side. At least you're boosted now, Joe.
Yeah, really.
Protect yourself against the Corona Miley Cyrus.
Careful what you say, because that boost is a protein drink.
Sorry, I didn't mean to go there.
Well, they're not one of our sponsors, so.
No, they're not one of our sponsors.
But they could be.
No.
They could be.
Price of $199.99.
Is it $100? Okay.
It would be great to get this for our sponsor, but
I wasn't sure what our sponsors were, Dan. I didn't get the memo.
My sponsors usually travel in tin cans.
Whoever you bring to the show.
I told you my idea. Put their logo up there and then send them a bill and see if they pay it.
Oh, that's a good point.
You do that. You talk Joe into doing that. I'll follow suit if it works.
Cokehead's live. Coke is it. It's the real thing.
Yes.
It is the real thing.
I promise you, I won't try and get a sponsor.
Now, how much is that costing them for me to do just that?
I think we did 6 of their famous slogans. So
yeah.
Let's just say $1,200. Make it a nice even figure.
I'll tell you what. If we all hold, let's all 4 of us right now. We got 5 minutes left in the show. Let's all light a candle, stand here, and sing the Coke version of "I Like to Teach the World to Sing."
No.
And I bet we will get them for a sponsor. Absolutely. Now Joe will be coming in.
I don't have a candle nearby, so I can't do this.
And I sing like Kermit the Frog gargling used razor blades. So.
Ooh, ouch.
I don't have a candle either, but
this is a phone.
There you go. I got that.
I gotta go up and up a suitcase with my convention gear to get my stuff on it.
That's right, Dan, you do.
Okay. I don't want to sing any more than that because
let's pay for that part. Okay.
Yeah.
Don't you know we can get busted for that?
And then we'll actually.
Yeah, really.
I like to buy the world and keep it company.
Oh, Michaela.
Tomorrow's going to be a busy day for me.
Ooh.
I am past the halfway point on Warrior's Honor, and I have to get it done so my editors can absolutely tear it apart.
She knows her editors and trusts them. That's the important part.
By the way, congratulations on that, Michaela. coming up on the next book and all. That's good stuff. Look forward to talking about it on my show. And I quote, in just a couple of weeks, Dan, Saturdays at 12 p.m. EST. Just make sure you're following me on all forms of social media, simply at RyanRPM5. And guess what? I have a link tree now, fellas. So if you go to my Instagram and my Twitter feed, you will find that link to my link tree where you can find all the projects and everything I got coming up.
And we will post the link to his link tree on Stupid O'Clock.
Yes.
If somebody will tell me what a link tree is.
It's a thing you put in. It says, here's your link tree. And then you go to it. And it's got all the links.
To all your social media, all your projects, Dan.
Yeah. Well, mine is called Apelian Webzine. You go there, you can find everything I do.
Then that's your link. Yeah.
You're welcome, Michaela. She says, thanks, Ryan, in the chat. She is such a nice person, that Michaela Jade.
Oh, and so cute, too.
We attract all the nicest people and
the
nicest Russian spam bots.
Let's
you
not
know,
forget
we
about
haven't
those,
been
John.
bothered by those this week.
Well, they're busy.
Are they busy, John?
They've been drafted.
They've been drafted.
Thank you, Dan.
They're
wondering where they were going.
Yeah.
Okay. 5 seconds. Go ahead and hit the end credits, and I will start up the other show.
Well,
y'all are welcome.
You go do your show. I'll finish this.
I can dios.
Okay. Bye, Dan.
I've got to listen.
Why you got to listen?
Because he's the principal, John.
Because I always at the end of High Flight I start right there where the static comes in.
So this is the part of the show where we say good night, everybody.
Have a great night, everyone. Thanks for having us.
Good night, Gracie.
Bless everyone.
I have slit the surly bonds of earth and danced the skies on laughter-silvered wings. Sunward I've climbed and joined the tumbling mirth of sun-split clouds and done 100 things you have not dreamed of. Wheeled and soared and swung high in the sunlit silence. Hovering there, I've chased the shouting wind along and flung my eager craft through footless halls of air. Up, up the long, delirious, burning blue, I've topped the windswept heights with easy grace, when never lark nor even eagle flew. And while with silent, lifting mind, I've trod the high, untrespassed sanctity of space, put out my hand and touched the face of God.